Alice hung over the railings of the Lady Rose, staring through the morning haze at the gated entrance to Alexandria's docks. Trucks rumbled past, carrying crates of dates to load onto one of the many cargo ships in the harbour, and dock workers, in their white, loose-fitting robes, chatted under the shade of a palm tree. A horse carriage stood waiting patiently by a warehouse, its occupant hidden beneath the fringed canopy. Alice sighed impatiently. There was still no sign of the motor cars delivering their yacht's new and glamorous paying guests. Turning to her brother, Sonny, Alice saw he was engrossed in a book on natural history as he lounged on a chair beneath the stern awning. "Do I look smart enough?" she asked him, smoothing the wrinkles from her favourite cotton sundress. The hem was frayed in places, but she'd been far too distracted to open her sewing box. It had been hard to concentrate on anything amid the flurry of preparations since arriving in Egypt the previous afternoon. Sonny looked up. "Estelle Fortune is a Hollywood star. I doubt she'll be interested in what you're wearing." He pointed at her chin, "although I think she'll notice that dollop of jam from breakfast." "Oh, bother it!" cried Alice, pulling a handkerchief from her pocket and rubbing furiously at her face. "Pay no attention to him, dear. He's jesting," said their father, hurrying down the steps from upper deck. "You rotter!" grumbled Alice, pulling a face at her brother. Father placed a hand on the back of Sonny's chair. "Please don't excite Alice any more than she already is. She may combust." Sonny exchanged a conspiratorial smile with their father. "I can't help feeling excited," said Alice, stuffing her handkerchief back into her pocket. "My favourite actress chartering our yacht to take her to London is the most thrilling thing that's ever happened to us. Well, one of the most thrilling things." She glanced at the spot on deck where only 2 weeks earlier a large aquarium had stood. On their last voyage, the King of England had been aboard, and during that time, an octopus and a priceless opal had vanished from the tank. She and Sonny had used all their wits to solve the mystery, but, while that had been tremendously exciting, the arrival of a Hollywood star was something else. Alice's stomach fizzed in the same way it usually did right before a birthday or Christmas. "I see 2 motor cars approaching. I think our guests are here," a voice called down from the deck above. It was Dorothy, Sonny's former guardian, and a person their father was growing increasingly fond of. Alice's fingers tingled as she leaned over the railing again to watch the cars, their tyres kicking up spirals of dust. "Are you sure you vacuumed the guest cabins especially well this morning?" she asked Sonny, who placed his book down and now stood beside her. They both had daily tasks to complete on board, and most days Alice felt more like a member of the crew rather than the part owner of this magnificent yacht inherited from their grandfather. But the Lady Rose was a business and finances were tight, which meant they all worked hard to make their own livelihoods and those of the crew a success. Sonny wiped the sweat beading on his forehead with the back of his hand. "Will you stop worrying? I vacuumed the cabins especially well, twice even." "Good," said Alice, momentarily satisfied. It was important everything was perfectly in place for Estelle Fortune and her travelling companions. "Don't forget the other people we must look after too. I saw them on the passenger list. There's Estelle's manager, Howard Quill, who looks after her career, and her brother, Mr. Troutman. Father told me he's Estelle's chaperone and always travels with her to make sure things run smoothly." Pausing, she glanced at Sonny. "I wonder why Estelle's surname is Fortune and not Troutman. I don't think she's married." Sonny shrugged as he watched a seabird wheeling overhead on the warm air currents. "Anyhow, Mr. Troutman's also brought his wife and daughter along," Alice continued, wishing her brother would show a little more enthusiasm. "Winnie's 11, so not much younger than me. I wonder if we'll be friends." Sonny gave Alice an amused glance. "You really are looking forward to this voyage, aren't you?" Alice nodded. She and Gloria, her best friend from school, had huge admiration for Estelle Fortune.